What's the deal, YouTube? This is your boy Eco Gamer, and these are my top 10 most hardest bosses I've ever fought in my playing as gaming. At number 10, we have the End from Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, the End is basically, the reason this is on my top 10 is you're basically playing as Snake in Metal Gear Solid 3, but the reason this boss is so difficult is because I didn't know where the hell he was, and then he shows up out of nowhere to kill me, basically, and that's what makes him so difficult. And getting the plat on Metal Gear Solid 3 was definitely not easy. If you guys remember playing Metal Gear Solid 3, then you'll probably remember this boss. So, that's number 10. And now, for number 9, on my list of top 10 hardest bosses, we have Ball from Disgaea Hour of Darkness. Now, Ball has a ridiculously high level and is considered one of the second strongest bosses in Disgaea Hour of Darkness. Now, I played Disgaea Hour of Darkness on the PlayStation 2, and basically Ball's level is ridiculously high, and his damage ratio is really bad, like he's level 4000. And then he has a second mode called Entana mode, which even makes him stronger. He killed the main protagonist, Laharl's father, so that proves just how powerful this guy is, named Ball for like the devil's minions. And basically that's number 9. And now for number 8 on my list of top 10 hardest bosses, we have Terramorphous the Invincible from Borderlands 2. Now, Terramorphous the Invincible is definitely one of the hardest invincible enemies in Borderlands 2, and it's the first one you face. Now, I killed him solo on my second playthrough, so that's what made him so difficult for me to fight. Not only can he summon tentacles that shoot projectiles, he has an instant kill attack where he can suck you towards him and then continuously damage you. I used the Necromancer to defeat him, since Deathtrap was able to dish out shields and bonus recovery for my character. And that's what makes Terramorphous so dangerous, is that he killed me plenty of times in Borderlands 2. So make sure when you face him, you stock up on a group of people, especially the Gunzerker, since he can dish out the most damage. And now, for number 7, we have the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3. Now, the Nameless King, I beat him on my PlayStation 4 first, and then later on my PC. He's basically riding a giant dragon that can shoot lightning at you, and you're like floating in the sky looking around, and the camera angles when fighting him is ridiculously annoying. That's what makes him so hard to fight. And even after you slay his dragon, he kills his dragon and absorbs its power, increasing his attack and ferocity. He killed me about 7 times before I finally defeated him, and basically he's probably one of the hardest bosses in Dark Souls 3. So if you guys ever play Dark Souls 3, getting to the Nameless King isn't going to be easy, and when you probably fight him, make sure you're stocked up for potions, because he is going to whoop your ass, especially with those terrible camera angles when fighting him. And now, for number 6 on my top 10 list of hardest bosses, we have Cromer XD Invincible from the first Borderlands. Cromer XD Invincible is an insanely difficult enemy from the first Borderlands who can summon many minions. His level is 5 levels higher than yours, and not only that, his weak point, he has like 5 to 6 weak points. He has claws, you have to blow off his weak points, and then he has a weak point on his back. And if you don't hit the one on his back, which is very hard to get to, because not only do you have to hide from his minions and his attacks to hit it, but I defeated him solo with Maya, the Siren, since she's able to teleport to different areas of the map. But there was a glitch that, after I defeated him, later found out you could hide in a corner to beat him. So if anyone's looking to go back and play the original Borderlands, you can definitely look up that glitch to beat him. But even if you used a glitch, you would have to hit his back part, which is still hard to get to. And now, for number 5, we have Dark Samus from Metroid Prime 3 for the Wii. Now, Dark Samus on Metroid Prime 3, I fought her on the highest difficulty, which is Hyper Mode, which basically when enemies enter Hyper Mode, their damage is doubled, their ferocity is doubled. And Dark Samus has one form, then her second form is this giant towering computer she merges with, and then the towering computer separates and then hovers around and can attack you. It took me 3 hours just to beat her in all her forms together. That enemy is very hard to beat for sure. Dark Samus is definitely number 5 on my list. And now, for number 4, we have Orenstein Smog from Dark Souls 1. Both, well, no introductions are necessary. These two are definitely a very powerful duet if you face them. They killed me about 12 times on the first Dark Souls when I played it back on my PS3. These two are definitely a dangerous combination. One is bulky, using heavy armor, while the other one's fast and ferocious. If you ever play the first Dark Souls, watch out for these two when you get to them. They're definitely gonna give you a rough time for your life. And now, for number 3, we have Gabriel Celesta from Star Ocean: The Last Hope. Basically, this guy claims himself to be all-powerful and all-omnipotent. He killed my characters with just one attack on the first time I faced him. I had to, level grind 200 extra levels just to finally beat him. He's definitely one of the strongest enemies in the Star Ocean franchises, and I definitely say watch out for facing him whenever you're playing Star Ocean: The Last Hope. And now, for number 2 on my top 10 hardest bosses list, we have Glim, Lord of Cinder from Dark Souls 1. Basically, this enemy is the final boss for Dark Souls 1. He's very powerful, fast, and he's able to shoot fire off the ground in a barrage of attacks. The only way to defeat him from what I did was parrying him. By parrying him, you have a slight chance of beating him. As the final boss for the first Dark Souls, it should be no wonder that he's one of the strongest enemies I faced in my gaming history. And now, for number 1 hardest boss I've ever faced. It is Virgil from Virgil's boss fight from Devil May Cry 3. This guy was one of the hardest bosses I faced because not only is Virgil insanely fast and he's been in Hell long enough to master all of Hell's powers to use against Dante when you fight him, that even when you're shooting him, he just comes out of nowhere to attack you. He's one of the most broken boss fights I had to face, and getting the platinum on Devil May Cry 3 was probably one of the hardest platinums I ever got on my PlayStation 3. So if you ever get the Devil May Cry HD collection, beware, Devil May Cry 3's boss Virgil is definitely gonna make you want to throw your controller through your window. That's my top 10 videos, everybody. Thanks for watching. This is your boy Eco Gamer, out. Peace!